He was called the most handsome man in Changchun, China. Everywhere he went, people noticed him and admired him. But behind that charming face was something far darker, a side of him no one could have imagined.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Mad and Cry. I'm Leah. Today we are diving into the chilly case of Wang Wei from Changchun, China.
On the night of the Dragon Boat Festival in 1997, a traditional Chinese holiday, a woman named Zheng Xichun hesitated at the police station door.
She smelled of alcohol and her hand trembled on the handle. Should she go in? After a deep breath, she finally stepped inside. My husband, he is a serial killer, she muttered almost to herself. But the police smelled the alcohol on her. They just thought she was drunk, rambling nonsense, so they sent her home. Her husband Wang Wei told them she was mentally unstable, and they believed him without checking further. The truth stayed outside, ignored. Back home, Zheng Xichun was terrified. She felt her husband might turn on her.
But he didn't. She knew he still needed her to help cover his crimes.
Night after night, the nightmares left her sleepless. Finally, gathering what little courage she had, she went to her parents and told them everything. Without support, she returned to the police station. This time, they listened. The police searched Wang Wei's home. They found multiple women's ashes, 72 pairs of high heels.
The forensic team discovered remains that showed signs of damage and trauma. He was arrested and confessed immediately.
Wang Wei was born in 1953 in a normal family in Changchun, China. From a young age, he was handsome and articulate, admired by teachers and female classmates alike. His looks and charm let him easily win over multiple women. They fought him, spent money on him, and catered to his desires, as if the world revolved around him. But jealousy was never far behind. Women wanted to be his one and only. Seeing him with someone else triggered rage.
Based on public records, when he was young, he repeatedly harassed women, seduced them, and sometimes even forced them into relationships they didn't want. Eventually, several women reported him to the police for hooliganism.
Back then in China, hooliganism was a criminal law for people who repeatedly harassed others or disturbed public order. It was more serious than simple harassment.
In 1979, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, but prison didn't change him. Instead, it fueled his hatred, and he felt betrayed by women. Those years set the stage for his future crimes.
After he was released, Wang Wei was already in his 30s. His parents really wanted to get married. Soon, he met Zheng Xichun, a woman 12 years older than him. She'd been married before and wasn't attractive as he was, but she owned 3 properties. She liked his looks, and Wang Wei liked her money.
It seemed like fate, and they married quickly.
The first 6 months were very peaceful, but soon Wang Wei started going to clubs and seeing other women. Zheng Xichun knew, but attracted to his looks and hoping to keep the marriage intact, she ignored it.
But she had no idea what was coming. Things were about to take a dark turn. Wang Wei's true nature soon began to show, and her suffering was only beginning.
Early in the morning on October 5, 1993, Wang Wei brought home an old friend, Yu Wenxia. They had known each other for more than 10 years. Yu Wenxia ran a wholesale business and wanted to rent a room at the storage space. She had no idea she was stepping into danger. After checking out the room, she was about to leave.
Then Wang Wei suddenly attacked her with an axe. She fell to the ground, and despite her struggle, he continued the assault until she stopped moving.
The struggle caught the attention of Zheng Xichun. Seeing her husband attacking someone, she instinctively came to help.
She pressed a sofa cushion over Yu Wenxia's face. Soon after, Yu Wenxia was dead.
Wang Wei took her money and jewelry. Later, he dismembered the body and burned it in the store, trying to destroy the evidence. What was his motive? At the time, he was unemployed, while Yu Wenxia had been making money from her business. On top of that, Wang Wei had long held a deep hatred toward women. Killing her gave him a twisted sense of satisfaction.
On February 9, 1994, Wang Wei brought another woman, Zhu Yan, home. He didn't even try to hide it from his wife. He just coldly told her to stay in her room and not come out.
That evening, strange noises started coming from the house. Zheng Xichun felt uneasy and went out to see what was going on. She saw her husband strangling Zhu Yan. Zhu Yan struggled, grabbing his arms and trying to fight back. Zheng Xichun rushed over to help her husband and held Zhu Yan's arms down so she couldn't fight back. Moments later, Zhu Yan was dead.
Afterwards, Zheng Xichun asked Wang Wei why he killed her. He showed no emotion. He simply said Zhu Yan had betrayed him and he couldn't accept it. He wanted her to pay the price. In January and again in October of 1995, Wang Wei committed 2 more murders. Each time the method was almost the same. He took the victim's money and treated violence and humiliations as a twisted form of revenge. By then, Wang Wei had grown increasingly arrogant, as if he could decide the life and the death of any woman.
In November of that same year, he lured another woman back to his home. This time, things were even more horrifying. He first assaulted her and then he killed her. Zheng Xichun never wanted her husband involved with other women. In a way, this could be seen as jealousy, a kind of rivalry between women, and yet she still joined in. If the first 2 times were instinctive reactions to help her husband, this time she helped him deliberately.
By 1996, Wang Wei's madness still hadn't stopped. That year, he used 3 of his own properties as places to commit his crimes, and relied on his good looks to lure women back to his home. He carried out more than a dozen attacks in a row. Each time, he took the victim's jewelry and hid it in a kitchen cupboard. The high heels were neatly lined up. Many serial killers develop a habit of keeping their victims' belongings.
Wang Wei seemed to get a twisted sense of satisfaction from killing, but for Zheng Xichun, life was completely different. She lived in constant fear. At night, she couldn't barely sleep, her mind almost completely consumed by terror. She wanted to leave, but Wang Wei controlled her every move. She wanted to speak out, but she was terrified of what might happen if she did. Even worse, Wang Wei began pulling her deeper and deeper into his crimes, eventually turning her into an accomplice.
The pressure eventually became too much for her to handle. At one point, Zheng Xichun even tried to end her life with sleeping pills, but Wang Wei found her and saved her. Finally, the pressure became too much for Zheng Xichun to bear. She went to the police and told them everything. The police quickly stepped in. Wang Wei was arrested, and the crimes he had committed over the years slowly came to light. In the end, Wang Wei was sentenced to death. Zheng Xichun, for her honest confession and cooperation, received a suspended death sentence.
Wang Wei was obsessed with control. He used his looks, his properties, even his charm to lure women in, and he craved being the one in charge of everything, their lives, their actions, even their fear. Money and valuables played a role too. Many of his victims had something he wanted, but it wasn't just about money. Wang Wei also harbored deep hatred toward women, and the violence gave him a twisted sense of satisfaction. He was cold, calculating, and completely unfazed by what he had done. Over time, he grew bolder and more arrogant, convinced he had the power to decide who lived and who died. As for Zheng Xichun, Even though she had money, she was divorced and in a relationship with a younger man, something highly unusual in China during the 1990s. She didn't want to risk losing this fragile marriage. And there was another factor. Confucian culture has shaped Chinese society for thousands of years. One of its core ideas is that the family comes first, and within the family, the husband is considered the head of the household. Wives were expected to be obedient, to put their husband's needs before their own, and to do everything they could to keep the family together. On top of that, women thinking in China during the 1990s wasn't as liberated as it is today. Awareness of personal rights was still limited. Even a wealthy woman like Zheng Xichun could feel intense social pressure to obey her husband, especially during a crisis. So, when things began to spiral out of control, Zheng's first instinct was to help Wang Wei. Years of fear and psychological control had wrapped her judgment. Jealousy, guilt, and the desperate desire to hold on her marriage all became tangled together. In the end, those pressures pushed her to actively assist Wang Wei at crucial moments. Together, they formed a deeply twisted dynamic. Wang Wei controlled everything with cold calculation, while Zheng Xichun remained trapped in fear and emotional pressure. Power, control, fear, twisted emotions, all of these forces became intertwined in their lives, eventually fueling a chain of unspeakable tragedies. Behind every story, the truth waits. I'm Leah. Stay with us on Median Cry. Thanks for watching. Take care and see you next time.